The airport group chat pinged again. Another photo. This time it was a cocktail. Blue Lagoon, extra ice. My sister Amber had captioned it, "Sunset drinks in Santorini." Tropical drink blue heart, with a heart emoji and a row of clapping hands. I sat at my desk, fluorescent office lights humming overhead, staring blankly at the screen. The scent of stale printer ink mixed with my cold, half-eaten chicken wrap. I hadn't responded to a single message in that group chat for 2 days now. And not one of them noticed. No one had noticed when I didn't show up at JFK with them. Because I was never invited. Not even a text. Not a phone call. Not a casual, "Hey, we're planning a trip." Nothing. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation? Be honest, tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin. 3 days ago, I found out from my younger cousin Tiffany, who had slipped up while asking if I'd packed sunscreen, that my entire family was flying out for a 2-week, once-in-a-lifetime vacation to Greece. Everyone was going. Mom, Dad, Amber, my brother Nolan, his wife, their kids, even Uncle Rick and his new girlfriend, who no one liked but tolerated for the free wine. Everyone except me. When I finally confronted my mom over the phone, her voice was tight but polite. "It's just too expensive to include everyone, Hannah," she said. Everyone. Everyone except me. I didn't scream. Didn't cry. I just said, "Don't worry about me." And I meant it. She had no idea what she'd just set in motion. Because the truth is, I wasn't the broke one in the family. I wasn't the struggling daughter living paycheck to paycheck like they all thought. That was the old Hannah. The new me? Well, they'd learn soon enough. I leaned back in my leather chair, glancing across my penthouse office window overlooking Manhattan. The skyline shimmered like diamonds under the evening sun. I didn't inherit anything. I built this. I was the director of finance at a private venture firm that had quietly made me one of the highest-earning women in the company's history. I managed 8 accounts for ultra-wealthy clients. And I'd recently taken over managing the personal accounts for my parents, too, after Dad said he was too tired of adulting. So yes, I handled all their card limits. The international settings. The trip pre-authorizations. Everything. And yes, I let their flight tickets process. I let the AirBnBs go through. I even watched from my dashboard as Amber's luggage upgrade from basic economy to extra comfort was approved. But I never increased the international limits on their accounts past the 72-hour mark. Because they didn't think I was worthy of a $3,000 vacation seat? Fine. Let's see how they enjoy their luxury trip when their cards start declining halfway through paradise. 3 days later, Santorini, Greece. My phone buzzed once. Then again. Then 5 more times. I didn't check. Another buzz. Nolan's name lit up the screen. I ignored it. Then came a string of messages. Mom. Hey sweetie, weird thing. Our cards aren't working. Can you check? Amber. Help? We're locked out of the villa and can't pay the balance. Dad. What the hell's going on with the accounts? I took a slow sip of my iced latte. Sunlight beamed in through my apartment windows. A quiet jazz tune played from my speaker. I was in no rush. Not anymore. They had chosen to forget me. But money? Oh, money never forgets who's in charge. I let an hour pass. Then opened the group chat. Amber had sent a voice note. I pressed play. Her voice was shaky. Windy. We're literally stranded on the street. The villa won't let us in until the card works. And Mom's panicking. Hannah, what's happening? Please. A part of me, deep down, felt the old instincts kick in. Fix it. Be the responsible one. Patch the hole. Save the family. But I didn't move. Because they had spent a lifetime expecting me to shrink myself so they could shine. To pay silently. To help without thanks. To exist quietly in the background like an unpaid assistant to their spotlighted lives. Not anymore. I typed slowly. You said it was too expensive to include everyone. I assumed you didn't need my help anymore. And hit send. The chat went dead silent. The silence was delicious. For someone who had always been talked over, dismissed, or treated like a spare wheel in her own family, watching them go completely speechless, even in text, was the closest thing I'd felt to liberation in years. It didn't take long for the messages to resume. Mom, Hannah, this isn't funny.
Dad, fix the cards. Now.
Amber, you're being petty. We didn't mean to leave you out. It just made more sense this way. I scoffed out loud. Made more sense? Like what? Mathematically? Strategically? Emotionally? They thought I was disposable. A maybe person. A background character in the story of their perfect lives. I got up from the couch, walked barefoot across the marble flooring to my bar counter, and poured myself a glass of cold white wine. They had no idea who I'd become over the last 3 years. I hadn't flaunted my success. I didn't show off the bonuses, the awards, the equity shares. When they asked what I did at the finance place, I downplayed it.
It was easier to keep the peace that way.
But peace had a price. And this time, they weren't going to skip the bill. Just as I settled back down, the FaceTime request came in.
Mom.
I let it ring until it cut off. 30 seconds later, it came again. Amber.
Declined.
Another from Dad.
Declined.
Then a new number appeared. Foreign. Likely the Greek villa's landline. I didn't answer that one either. I knew them too well. They weren't calling out of love or regret. They were calling because they were stuck. And I wasn't their plan B anymore. A few hours passed. I logged into the banking dashboard. All 3 of their cards had been declined at the same time around 7:42 p.m. Greece time. Nolan had tried to buy groceries. Amber had tried to upgrade the Wi-Fi at the villa. My parents had tried to settle the balance for an ATV rental. Every transaction bounced. They were likely standing in the villa courtyard right now, hungry, irritated, and unable to book a ride, order food, or contact their bank directly without roaming charges. In a cruel twist of fate, I realized they'd never learned how to handle their own money. That used to be my role. And now I wasn't answering. The next morning, Santorini. Amber, I'm sleeping on a towel. The villa guy said we're locked out until the balance clears. Mom, we just need you to authorize the card. Then we'll talk. Please, sweetie. Dad, we raised you. Don't act like this. That last one lit a fire in my chest. They raised me? They raised me? Sure, maybe in the technical sense. But being raised wasn't the same as being seen. I remembered birthdays skipped because Amber had dance recitals. Remembered sharing a single bedroom while Nolan got his own study space. Remembered my college tuition being pulled last minute because Dad wanted a new boat. And I remembered holding Mom's hand when she had her health scare, but being pushed away at the family dinner 2 weeks later because I brought the wrong dessert. I never mattered unless they needed something. And now they needed something. Again. I opened my phone and began typing a message. Then stopped. Let them sit with the silence. Let them sit with what it's like to be the one left out. Back in New York, 2 days later. I was walking out of a client meeting when I saw the email notification. Subject: Account closure request, Nolan Green. It had been sent by mistake. Likely, Nolan trying to take over his own financial account without realizing it was under corporate oversight. A manual closure request meant he was panicking, scrambling. A second email hit moments later. Subject: Emergency limit extension, Amber Green. She was trying to bypass me through the bank, but it wouldn't work. They'd need my signature. I let them try. I let them fail. Later that evening, my doorman buzzed. Miss Green, there's someone asking to come up. Says he's your brother. Nolan? I walked down to the lobby instead of buzzing him in. And sure enough, there he was, sunburnt, hair frazzled, face creased with stress. Hey, he said. Can we talk? I folded my arms. Is Greece not sunny enough? He didn't laugh. Just swallowed hard. We messed up, he said. I know we did. We should have included you. But it wasn't just about the money. Mom said you wouldn't enjoy it. That you were always so independent and busy. I tilted my head. So instead of asking, she assumed. Like always.
He sighed.
Can we go upstairs? Just talk. I stared at him for a long beat, then nodded slowly. Not because he deserved it, but because I wanted to see if he had it in him to say what needed to be said. Inside, he glanced around the place. He'd never seen my apartment before. Damn, he muttered. You're doing all right. I sat across from him, cold, measured. You didn't come to apologize, I said. You came because you need something. His silence was confirmation enough. I let the moment hang between us. Then I leaned forward. You left me behind, I said. Just like everyone else. I've carried this family's weight for years. Quietly, without asking. But now that I'm not picking up the phone, you realize just how much I mattered. He looked like he wanted to argue, but he didn't, because there was nothing left to say. Finally, he asked quietly, Are you going to unlock the cards? I stared at him for a long, cold second. No, I said, then got up and walked him to the door. 2 hours after Nolan left my apartment, I got a call from an unknown number. I didn't answer. A minute later, it rang again. Then a message popped up. Mom, please. Just 10 minutes. We're back at JFK now. Can we come over? They were back. Earlier than expected. That meant they must have cut the trip short. Probably couldn't survive without working cards or access to funds. I ignored the message. Then a knock. At my door. My stomach twisted slightly. I walked over and looked through the peephole.
Mom.
Alone. I opened the door partway. She looked tired, sunburnt, hair a mess, eyes puffy like she hadn't slept on the plane. But she still wore her pearls and held her designer purse like armor. Can I come in? She asked. I hesitated, then stepped aside. She walked in slowly, looking around. Her voice was soft. I've never been here before. No one ever asked, I replied. She turned to me. I didn't realize you lived like this. I shrugged. Because you never cared to find out. That hit her. I could see it. She sat on the edge of my couch, hands folded. Hannah, I owe you an apology. A real one. I didn't say anything. I messed up. We messed up, she continued. I thought we were making a decision based on logic, money, convenience. But I see now we made a choice based on assumptions. That you'd always be fine. That you'd understand. I looked at her. You told me it was too expensive to include everyone. But you included cousins plus ones, people I haven't spoken to in years. Everyone except me. She nodded slowly. I thought you wouldn't care. You always seemed above it.
Strong.
Distant. Because I had to be, I said. You made me feel like the extra piece in this family. Like the help. She looked down, quiet. You're right. That surprised me. Then she added, I'm not here to ask for money. Or card limits. Or access. I want to fix this. Not for the accounts. For us. I studied her face. There was something genuine there. Regret? Or just exhaustion. Then she stood, reaching into her purse. I wrote you something on the flight back. She handed me a folded note. I didn't open it right away. She stepped toward the door. You don't have to forgive me now. Maybe never. But just know we remember who holds the family together. We just took too long to admit it. Then she walked out. I sat alone for a while after that. Note still in hand. I unfolded it. It was short. Just a few lines in her handwriting. We forgot the one who never forgot us. I'm sorry we made you feel small. When really, you were the one holding us all together. No excuses. Just that. And for once, it felt real. I didn't forgive her right away. But I didn't tear up the note either. The next few days were quiet. No messages. No calls. Just silence. I thought maybe they'd given up, moved on, accepted that I was done fixing things for them. Then on Saturday morning, I got an unexpected notification. A transfer request. From Dad's personal account. Amount. $1. Note. Testing if you'll block this too. I rolled my eyes. But then another came. Amount. $2,000. Note. Your name should have been on everything from the start. Fixing that now. A minute later, A shared Google Doc invite landed in my inbox. The title, Family Financial Plan, Hannah Green, owner. I clicked it. It was a document Nolan had written. It included plans to move all family assets, investments, retirement, shared properties, under a single financial oversight system. Under my name. They wanted to make it official. They weren't just asking for help this time. They were handing me the reins.
Publicly.
Fully. It was the first time in my life they weren't pretending I was the quiet one in the corner. Sunday morning, Amber showed up. No text. No call. Just knocked on the door. She stood there with a small bag of bakery pastries, awkward and unsure. Not a trace of her usual smugness. I brought cinnamon knots. Your favorite, right? I crossed my arms. You really think cinnamon knots will fix everything?
No, she said.
But I figured they're a start. I sighed and opened the door. She walked in slowly, setting the bag on the counter. I was horrible, she said right away. I thought I was just being honest when I said you'd be bored on the trip. But I realize now I was just being cruel. I didn't want you there. Because I knew I couldn't control the spotlight when you were. I looked at her, surprised. Amber? Admitting jealousy? She continued. You were always the one working quietly, getting things done. I just never wanted to admit that the one I looked down on was actually ahead of me. The room was still. She added. We all made you feel replaceable. But the truth is, we were lost without you. Not just financially. Everything. I stayed quiet. But inside, something shifted. Maybe it wasn't revenge I wanted. Maybe it was recognition. And maybe I finally had it. That night, I sat at my window, staring at the city lights. Their trip had collapsed without me. Their pride had too. And maybe now, for the first time ever, they'd start building something new with me in it. Not behind them, but beside them. A week later, the family invited me to dinner. Not out of obligation. Not to ask for anything. This time it was different. They chose my apartment. Said they didn't want to meet at some fancy restaurant or noisy family house. They wanted to come where I lived. Where I built everything. At 7 p.m. sharp, they all arrived, Mom, Dad, Nolan, Amber, even Uncle Rick. Everyone came with something in hand. Wine, takeout trays, desserts. Not out of charity, but contribution. For the first time, they were showing up. And this time, I didn't feel like an outsider. We sat at my long oak table eating, talking, laughing, and I was quiet at first, watching them try, really try. Not just to make small talk, but to listen.
To see me.
About halfway through dinner, Dad cleared his throat. I need to say something, he began, setting his fork down. The room fell quiet. I never thought much about how things landed on your shoulders. We just got used to it. You were dependable. Strong. I thought that meant you didn't need us. He looked right at me. But you deserved us. Our attention. Our gratitude. Our respect. Mom added gently. We weren't a family without you. Just a group of people doing things together. You were the one holding it all up. Amber leaned forward, chin in hand. We're not asking you to fix things anymore. Just to let us earn our way back. I sat there, emotions swirling. Part hurt, part relief, part calm. It wasn't about getting revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming my place. Not begging for it. Not waiting for a seat. Taking it. After dessert, Nolan handed me a small envelope. Inside was a single key card. The beach house. I asked. He nodded. We voted. It's yours now. You spent your whole life watching from the outside. It's time we start giving you front row. I looked around the table. No one argued. No one looked resentful. For the first time, they all agreed. I didn't cry. I didn't make a speech. I just smiled, held the key tight in my palm, and said, Thanks. I'll make sure the Wi-Fi works next time. The room erupted in laughter. And for once, it wasn't hollow. It was real. I wasn't forgotten anymore. I wasn't invisible. I was home.